Good afternoon, Board of Directors. So today my team, which comprises of Kezia, Janice, Nicholas, and myself, Felicia, will be presenting to you our proposal on the refurbishment of Midpoint Orchard. So this is what we are going to cover today, and I'll begin with the introduction and the market analysis, while Kezia and Janice will go on with the description of the proposed project. Nicholas will then follow up with the benefits, the marketing plan, timeline, as well as the budget. So where is Midpoint Orchard? It is located along Orchard Road, which is the main shopping district in Singapore, and surrounding malls include Centrepoint, 313 at Somerset, as well as Orchard Central. It is only a 5-minute walk away from Somerset MRT, and there's also a bus stop located right outside the mall. As we can see, Midpoint Orchard is highly accessible by public transport, and shoppers also have the option to drive as there are nearby parking facilities offered. Moving on to the current condition of the mall, we see that Midpoint Orchard is rather dull and old, with only 6 floors, which is much lower than the surrounding malls. The Midpoint Orchard sign is also relatively small, which does not capture the attention of people who walk past. In contrast, the advertising banner takes up a large portion of the facade, which we feel tends to overshadow the sign. As we enter the mall, we also see that it is old-fashioned and unappealing, with narrow walkways, since the escalator takes up a large amount of space in the center of the mall. One other problem that we have identified is the lack of tenant diversity, where many shops offer mainly beauty and wellness services, which we feel are insufficient to attract shoppers or even compete with the nearby malls. Hence, Midpoint Orchard has low patronage, and they also have many vacant shop spaces. So after providing you with some information about Midpoint Orchard, we'd like to share with you some trends as well as a SWOT analysis we have done. The first trend is that Singapore is actually facing an aging population. As seen from the 2 age pyramids here, the median age has increased from 24 years in 2000 to 40 years in 2016 today. By 2030, 1 in 5 residents will be a senior. Despite the social issues that might arise from this trend, we see that there's actually a rising affluence of the elderly. The first batch of baby boomers turned 65 in 2012, and they are expected to be better educated, richer, and healthier. We recognize that they will continue to fuel the economy through goods and services that cater to the aging process. So we feel that businesses should enter the market of the silver industry in the near future. So what can DRE Holdings do to gain an edge over our competitors? We can look at some of the unmet needs of the elderly, which include the lack of benches for resting, the lack of promotional posters in local languages, the lack of attentive staff, wheelchair-friendly facilities, as well as food products that meet their special nutritional diet needs. Another trend that we can take into consideration is the move towards creating a more sustainable environment, and this is in line with URA's master plan in 2030 to transform Singapore into a city in a garden. This can be done through engaging and inspiring communities to co-create a greener Singapore. And one example is to optimize urban spaces for greenery and recreation, and also through eco-friendly and eco-efficient buildings. So we also have identified some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of our proposal. And as I've mentioned earlier, the strength of Midpoint Orchard is that it is highly accessible, and being that it's located in the main shopping district in Singapore, we can focus less on trying to draw crowds to the area. Instead, we can concentrate our resources in promoting the concept idea as well as the features that Midpoint Orchard will offer. Having said that, a weakness of Midpoint Orchard is that it's actually not located near a residential or housing estate, which will make it easier to attract people from the immediate surroundings. However, we feel that with the central location and high accessibility of Midpoint Orchard, we won't be able to overcome this weakness. In terms of opportunities, we will offer a unique concept idea as well as cultivate an inclusive environment, which Kezia will be elaborating on in a short while. And we think that this will be able to increase the foot traffic as well as the sales of Midpoint Orchard. A threat to keep in mind is the competition from the surrounding malls, although we have a different target market. So to summarize the first part of the presentation, here are some objectives that we hope to fulfill. So based on the problems that we have identified, we will be changing the tenant mix as well as improve on the exterior and interior. Keeping in mind the trend of an aging population with the rising affluence of the elderly, we will propose to have leisure spaces for the elderly. So to further widen our scope of the target market, we hope to establish Midpoint Orchard as a family-oriented mall, where we hope to promote family bonding and improve relationships among the family, since families act as the first line of support for the elderly. To do our part in sustaining a sustainable environment, we will also be incorporating smart and green features. So now we'll have a video to introduce some of the features that Midpoint Orchard will have. We hope that the video has provided you with some insight of our refurbishment plans for Midpoint Orchard, and I'll pass on the time to Kezia, who will go into the details of our proposed plans.
Thank you, Felicia. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Now I'll move on to the description of the proposed project. First, I'll touch on the concept idea of Midpoint Orchard. Midpoint, where all ages meet. We believe in having leisure spaces and opportunities for family bonding in Midpoint Orchard. Definitely not forgetting the elderly, we will focus on engaging them through our activities to ensure active mental and physical health. Tenant mix. We will have the Reunion, which is a family-oriented restaurant in the basement, and also a mini NTUC. On the ground level, there will be an atrium for activities, an information center, and also Ya-Kun Family Cafe. A departmental store and a gym will be on the second and third levels respectively. On the fourth level, it will consist of studios for classes, which Janice will touch on it later. Finally, on the rooftop, we'll have a day and night concept, which I assure you, whoever hears about this concept will be definitely sure to go to the rooftop. So I'll be talking about the individual features. The Reunion is actually a family-oriented restaurant located at the basement of Midpoint Orchard, which aims to increase family interaction during meal times. The Reunion got the concept from Marche. We may actually feel that with our family and friends, when we're dining with them, we have different dietary requirements. But in the Reunion, we need not worry about such issues because we have food catering to various preferences and dietary requirements. For example, the elderly can actually opt for a healthier option, such as less oil or less sugar food. In the Reunion, we have round tables which ease communication between diners, and also wheelchair accessible seats with wider aisles so that those who are wheelchair bounded can actually go to the Reunion as well. As I want to re-emphasize again, the Reunion aims to increase interaction between family members and friends. So we propose to have lockers that the diners can actually deposit their phones in the lockers. Rest assured that these lockers will be accessed by fingerprints so that the elderly need not remember a password or even take care of a key. So this makes the reunion actually more elderly friendly. To incentivize the diners to place their phones in such lockers, we will have charging wires in the lockers so that while their phones are in the lockers, they can actually charge their phones at the same time. By completing the challenge, the family will actually receive a $10 voucher which they can use on their next visit. Through this no mobile phones during meal system, we will actually provide more opportunities for families to interact and have an enjoyable dining experience at the reunion. Next, I'll move on to the atrium. On weekdays and weekends, we will actually have different activities that are catered to different crowds. On weekdays, we are expecting more elderly, while on weekends, we expect more families since most people are free from work or school. So on weekdays, we will collaborate with agencies such as the CPF Board and Health Promotion Board to organize health and retirement planning talks to educate the elderly on how to manage their expenses after retirement and also to promote healthy living. In addition, recreational activities such as line dancing will be held at the atrium. On the other hand, on weekends, activities such as performances for children and baby care talks for young parents will be held. Something more special will be the biannual competitions for the elderly, where they can showcase their talents that they learn in classes on weekdays, which will be mentioned by Janice later on. By their family going to support them and cheering them on, it will definitely foster deeper relationships between them. You may think that gyms are only for adults, but I can tell you that that's not true, because at You Got to Move It Gym, we are actually bringing forward this movement of exercising as a family, and it will not leave any member of the family out. DRE will bring in various tenants that cater to the various age groups so that nobody, even the old or the young, will be left out. Something more interesting will be the elderly gyms, which have machines with air pressure systems that are gentler on the muscles and joints. In addition, smart cards will be given out to members where they can tap these smart cards on the machines to retrieve their progress and past activities, so that, for example, if they carried this weight, they will be able to retrieve that in the next visit. As you can see in the photo, the elderly and kids gym have equipments that are wrapped with soft sponges to keep them safe and injury-free. In case the adults are actually worried about their young children or their elderly parents, they can rest assured because we have supervisors who are there, and therefore the adults can actually focus on the exercises worry-free. Next, the Walk the Mall program. To promote healthy living, we will actually increase walking within our mall. The Walk the Mall program actually got its idea from the Pokemon Go game, which I believe many of you have played before. How it works is that when we enter the mall, we will log into the mall's application, which this is how the app looks like. The more you walk, the more points you'll collect. Special prizes will be placed at designated locations where it will incentivize shoppers to actually look for these jackpots. With these points, shoppers can redeem prizes or cash vouchers which can be used in their next visits. Now I'll pass on the time to Janice, where she'll tell you more about the interesting features in our proposed midpoint.
Thank you, Kezia. I hope you're enjoying the presentation so far. So for the next half of the presentation, me and Nicholas will be going through some of the physical changes that you can expect to see in the new Midpoint Orchard. So let's start with the leisure spaces. So we will be having recreational classes in studios to promote lifelong learning, which is in line with the government's vision. So as you can see from the screen above, these are the 8 classes that we will be conducting in the studios. And DRE will bring the tenants in to manage these classes. So if you're worried about, what about elderly who is less mobile, then they can opt to go for classes like the Chess It Up, Chinese calligraphy. Or we have physically more active classes such as the Zumba Zoom and the Cha-Cha Go. Okay, then I'd like to introduce this sensory room to you that we'll be incorporating in one of our studio. This room is actually to enhance the feeling of comfort and well-being. We are actually targeting the dementia elderly. So we will be helping them to stimulate the 5 senses, mainly the sense of hearing, sense of sight, sense of smell, sense of taste, and sense of touch. So this is really to promote relaxation, and as you can see, these will be how the studio will look like. Over here as well. So we just want to generate a relaxing effect for them and to help them to stimulate their senses. Next, I'll be talking about the most exciting part. It's the rooftop, and we name it Top of the World because we want our families, we want our the shoppers to feel like they're on the top of the world. So we have 2 concepts. In the day, it will be the picnic zone, and in the night, we have movie under the stars. So let me elaborate more about the day concept. It will be a picnic session. We know that some of y'all may be feeling like, when you go for a picnic, it's a lot of a hassle to prepare a lot of things. But don't forget, because we have an NTC in basement 1. So you can get what you need in basement 1 and you can head up, and if that's not enough, we have food carts as well. So you can actually purchase your food directly from the food carts. Yeah, so then we'll move on to look at the night concept. This is the kind of atmosphere that we want to create at night. It will be movie under the stars. So there will be family seat couches available, and directors, if you're worried about the copyright issue of screening of movies, don't worry, because we will be collaborating with Golden Village. Then this is another special feature that we have in our rooftop. It's called the garden wing. So basically it will be plantings on the ledge of the rooftop, and each family, they can sign up to be in charge of a pot of plant. And what they can do is they can decorate the plant, something like that, and there will be a competition at the end of every quarter, and then we will reward families who best grow the plants and decorate their pots. So this is really to increase family interaction, because I believe most of us here, we don't plant at home because it's a lot of a hassle to buy the fertilizers, the seeds and all. So we will be providing them, or we just want them to come and enjoy and have a great family bonding time. Moving on, you can take a look. This will be how our layout will be like. The food carts will be at the side, then the movie screen will be here, then these will be artificial grass. Let's look at the sustainable features that we will be incorporating in the new Midpoint Orchard. So mainly the lifts, the escalators, the restrooms, they will all be motion censored because we want to reduce the electricity consumption. As for the rooftop garden, previously mentioned that we will have a shelter. So this shelter will be made of double glazed glass to reduce the whole cooling load, especially on sunny days. For our waste collection system, it will be a suction form of system because this will allow them to automatically separate the waste into 2 because we want to promote recycling. Then for the building's facade, it will be cladded with aluminium and insulated backing wall to reduce the temperature. Take a look at the smart feature that we will be incorporating for elderly. It will be things like the LED path lights, especially for the rooftops when it gets a bit dark at night. We want to make sure that we don't compromise on the visibility. So this will be what we will put in place. Then this is something unique because this medical alert device that we'll be launching is specially designed for them. So what is good about it is that it has this fall detection technology in it. So in any case of unfortunate falls or emergency, our first aiders will be immediately notified and they can attend to the elderly. This is how it looks like. Moving on to the interior and exterior design that you can expect to see in the new Midpoint Orchard. Let's start with the exterior first. We will be adopting the concept of the great indoors because we want to bring the outdoors in. So our roofs and our facades, they will all be made of glass. Then we will also be replacing the posters outside with a digital screen. What you can expect to see on a digital screen will be the mall's happenings and our unique facilities that we have, as well as we will be having this large signboard outside, so people crossing from 313, the pedestrians, they can see directly, as well as the motorists traveling along the road, they can easily spot Midpoint Orchard. Moving to the interior, there will be new paint, new tiles, and most importantly, there will be a reallocation of the escalator. Because right now the escalator is situated in the middle, and it doesn't increase the floor space. So we want to maximize it as much as possible, so we'll move it to the side. So now I'll pass the time on to Nicholas. He will bring with you the rest of the project. Thank you.
Hi, thank you Janice for sharing with us the interior and exterior design of the mall. So next I'll be sharing with you guys the elderly friendly features that we have in place. So firstly, we have anti-slip coatings on the floor to prevent elderly from slipping and falling. Next, we will also have increased lightings around the malls to increase the visibility of the elderly, especially those who are poor sighted. Next, as we can see before, there's a flight of stairs outside the entrance, and we will be replacing them with travelators. This will facilitate the movement of the elderly, especially those who are wheelchair bound. Next, we also have armchairs with holders for walking sticks, which allow elderly to have a rest on these armchairs when they are feeling tired. And of course, grab bars will be all placed around the malls too. So next, I'll be talking about the benefits. So these are the 4 stakeholders that we have identified, and I will be bringing you through them. Firstly, we can look at family. There is an increased opportunity for family bonding through activities such as the rooftop, the picnic at the rooftop, and through them, families will the relationship of families will be increased. Next will be the DRE holdings. Their image will be enhanced, and DRE holding as an organization will be recognized as a organization that take care of social challenges. Next will be the elderly. So for the elderly, we have a huge range, a variety of enrichment classes for the elderly, such as Janice has mentioned, the activities in the studios during this. So this will enable elderly to have an active lifestyle. And lastly, the tenants will benefit from a larger range of consumers due to our prime location, and of course the increasing affluence of our Singaporeans. Next will be the marketing plan. So our marketing plan aims to increase awareness of our concept, and of course let people know more about our mall itself. So we will be splitting the marketing plan into the short term and long term. For short term, we will be using traditional media such as radio, newspaper, and television programs. For new media, so nowadays we know that teenagers use more Facebook, Instagram, and watch YouTubes more than they read newspaper and watch television programs. So through this, we aim to reach out to the teenagers by inviting bloggers such as Xia Xue over to our mall, so we can spread our message across effectively to them. Next will be the long-term process. We will have Atrium in place for our weekly events, and also the loyalty program where customers, upon buying things in our mall, they can earn points which can be redeemed for gift vouchers or maybe a small gift. And next will be our mobile application, and I will elaborate more in the next slide. So as we can see here, this is our mobile application, the app phase, and it will be named the Midpoint. And upon going into this application, we can see the main page where they will tell us more about the directory, the service provided, the Walk the Mall program as previously mentioned by Kezia, the reward points, and of course the calendar events calendar that will update us the different events quickly. Next, I'll talk more about the timeline of our project. So our project needs approximately 7 to 8 months in total, and it will go according to the 4-phase process. So phase 1 will be the planning phase, where we will take into account of the tenant mix and of course the design for the interior and exterior. Phase 2 will be the execution phase, where we will carry out our construction work. Phase 3 will be the preparation for our reopening, where we will have a deeper in-depth look of the marketing plans. And phase 4 will be the promotion activities that we have put in place prior to our reopening. So next will be our budget. So we will need approximately $38 million in total, which include charges like refurbishment charges, facilities and equipments, professional charges, financial charges, and of course lastly, marketing and advertising charges. So to conclude, I would like to summarize what my teammates and I have just mentioned about. So after we done our market analysis, we feel that there's a rising needs for the elderly due to a rising population in Singapore, and we came up with our concept of the mall, which is midpoint, where all ages meet. And after that, we came up with different activities and facilities to take care of different age group. And followed by, we mentioned about the benefits that will benefit the different stakeholders, followed by marketing plans, timeline, and the budget. So, given the fact that Midpoint Orchard is situated in such a prime location itself, we strongly believe that DRE Holdings plans to incorporate leisure space into malls, creating opportunities for family bonding and engaging the elderly through activities which are in line with the government vision of lifelong learning. So to conclude, I would like to mention to you again about our vision, Midpoint, where all ages meet. Thank you. So now we'll move on to the Q&A session.
So how do you think the lockers can be managed effectively?
Thank you for your question. So the lockers, as mentioned by Kezia, will be operated using fingerprints, and is mainly to encourage people to not use their mobile phones during meal times. So one locker will be assigned to each family, and each locker can accommodate a few phones, possibly up to 6 phones. And these lockers will be placed near the entrance, but within the restaurant. And I'm sure many of you all have visited Marché, so there's only one point of entry and one point of exit. So this will prevent the misuse of the lockers, where some shoppers might just want to use the lockers without actually eating at the restaurant. So diners actually have to enter the restaurant and use the lockers before they can use the lockers. And the lockers will also be able to track when the locker is being opened, and diners will have to foot the bill within 15 to 20 minutes of retrieving their phones.
I realized that for Midpoint Orchard, it didn't mention there's a car park. So will this deter people from coming to the mall, especially if they drive?
Thank you for your questions. I'm sure that it will not deter, because there are lots of car park lots. It's a walking distance from different shopping centers which have lots of car park lots, and of course, due to the high accessibility of like 5 minutes walks from the MRT station, and of course just a bus stop situation outside our mall itself. So I think that it won't deter people from coming to our mall, and especially these days people are using private transportation like Uber and Grab car taxi. So yeah, thank you.
What would encourage the elderly to wear the medical alert device?
Thank you for your question. This elderly alert medical device is really something that we specially designed for them. And yes, it's a very valid consideration that, you know, what if they find a hassle to bring it around or maybe they find it ugly to just hang it around their neck. The thing is, this medical device is actually very small. It's actually about this size, so they can just slip it into their pocket, or like yeah. And the thing about this is it's really solely for their safety. So because in any case of emergency, our first aiders will immediately be notified. Then yeah, as for whether they want to wear or not, I think we'll further educate them, and we will stay in touch with the families as well, and to really let them know that this device is for their safety. But ultimately, it's still up to their choice whether they want to retrieve it from our information counter or not. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, which attribute of Midpoint Orchard do you think is the strongest to attract people to visit a mall?
Thank you for your question. I believe that the attribute of being catered to different ages would be the strongest point in our mall, because we have many malls has actually green and smart features nowadays, which actually is important, but it is not a deciding factor for whether shoppers will go to the mall. It's more of the benefits for like DRE. And also many malls nowadays have only like playgrounds, water parks at the top, on the rooftop, but that only caters to the children. But what about the elderly? Our mall actually has many features, like we mentioned earlier, the gym, which caters to all ages, the sensory room, which caters to the elderly, and even the reunion, which we can all eat together. So since our mall caters to not only the children, we cater to all ages, so we can actually, like our concept where all ages meet, we can provide a place where all ages can have fun together and bond together.
So for the top of the rooftop, is there a worry that the place might get too crowded?
Thank you for the question. As for the rooftop, it's open to anyone. We do not have the system like you have to purchase a ticket or anything. So yes, as you can see from the concept, it's something very interesting. We're expecting a lot of people to come. But the thing is, actually we have this system where they can actually register firsthand. So we actually have this markup plan for them where they can so we know roughly how many families we can accommodate. Yeah, so they can view it via the mobile application that we have. Yeah, because if let's say you reserve the spot, then it will be shown on the mobile application. So that comes in handy with our mobile application where they can check immediately. Yeah, then we also welcome, of course, those who did not reserve, but that will be really based on our first come first serve basis. Yeah, but also we do note that it cannot get too crowded. If not, the atmosphere will be different from what we hope it will be. Yeah, so we really recommend that the families actually go into the mobile app, check if there's any space, and they can just reserve the spot there. Yeah, thank you.
So I was quite interested with the $10 voucher for completing the no phones during dining challenge. I was wondering, is this a one-time thing or is it a sustainable strategy? Because let's say if I do it for the first time, I get $10 voucher and I come back, then is this a recurring thing? Every single time I go back there, I put my phone there, I get $10 voucher. Because I'm not sure whether it's a very sustainable strategy. Wondering, is this a one-time thing or possible?
Thank you for your question. This $10 voucher is not really a one-time thing, but we give $10 to just a family, which actually it will act as an incentive. So because of this incentive, we hope that more people will come to our restaurant. So by having this $10, we hope that more people will come and we will actually have more business also. So it may not be bad for our business also, because it's just a $10 voucher for the whole family, not to each person. Yeah.
Regarding the garden ring, right, may I know like if there's anyone going to maintain the area, and if like the plants are not well maintained, would it be like removed?
So thank you for your question. So of course, the garden ring will be maintained by our management during weekdays where those families are unable to come down. And during weekends, of course, they will be highly encouraged to come down to our mall to look at the plants themselves. And we will change the pot of plants if it has rotten, and we will change it. But of course, maybe they need to pay a small fee. Yeah, that's all.
I think to add on to Nicholas' point, we have to help them to solve the issue if like no one comes to take care of the plant. But as Janice mentioned, there were two aspects to that garden ring, which was the other one was designing the pot. So like we can help them to maintain the plant itself, but families can still come to decorate the pot. And it can still be an activity where families can bond together. Yeah.
Okay, for the rooftop space, right? What if it rains? How do you ensure that there are still events and activities going on even in these?
Our rooftop is glass shutter.
It's actually sheltered. Yeah. It's just that it's a simulated outdoor environment. So like the glass will allow natural light to stream in, and we also have artificial grass. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.